Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Lewis, and behind me is my FF5 Civic Type R. And today we are going to be doing part 2 of my shifter upgrade series. If you missed part 1, go ahead and check it out. It was on the shifter linkage bushing upgrade. I showed you a whole install, and that just kind of got rid of all the rubber feeling that you would get when you're going in and out of the gears. It's a lot more solid, feels a lot better. So today we're going to add to that, and we're going to do the shifter base bushing upgrade. That's what they look like right there. Now there's no need to do an unboxing because you just saw what it was, but I just want to say big thanks to Acuity. They were the ones who sponsored this series of videos. They sent me these parts to do install videos for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be going through the entire install guide and just showing you guys step by step so you have a video representation. Of course, if you have any questions or anything, please reference all of Acuity's stuff and feel free to reach out to them if you have any issues. They'll be happy to help you. Now, they did send me a really good care package worth of stuff, but today we're going to be focusing on the base bushings, and there's not much to do on the exterior of the car besides disconnect the battery. Anytime that you're messing with the connectors or anything, you want to disconnect the battery. There was one time where I didn't disconnect the battery and I removed the center console, and when I went to connect the parking brake back on, my parking brake wouldn't go down. It took me turning the car on and off a couple times to get the parking brake to go down. But that's just something for you to keep in mind. If you don't disconnect the battery and maybe your parking brake isn't going down, or something's not working, you might need to cycle power a couple of times before it starts working. That way you don't freak out. But yeah, there's not much to it. No need to do an unboxing. You already saw the bag. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so battery's pretty straightforward. Just disconnect the negative terminal and you should be good to go. Obviously don't take the nut off all the way because you might lose it, and that's not a good time for anybody. I also always cover the negative terminal in a, some kind of cloth. That way it doesn't accidentally move and ground itself to something inside the engine bay. Okay, now that we went ahead and disconnected the battery, we can go ahead and start taking the center console apart, and we can start by removing the shift knob. I have the Poco insulated shift knob, so mine comes down pretty easily. If you need to see how to remove your shift knob, I know there's plenty of videos out there that show you how to remove your stock shift knob, and I'll probably do a video on all the shift knobs, probably my next video, so keep an eye out for that if you want to know how to take this out, how to take your stock one out. But yeah, we can go ahead, set this off to the side, and now we can start removing the center console. You're going to need some trim removal tools that I have around here somewhere. You can begin to work at taking them out slowly. I do notice that it is a little bit harder to take the center out with the Type R than the other trims. Like the SI was pretty easy to remove. When you try to take out the Type R, the trim pieces below it want to come out. There we go. Okay, once we have the panel removed and you disconnect these two connectors, the parking brake connector and the driver modes connector, I'm gonna remove this electrical tape, and that should free this harness from this actual panel. And I should note that Acuity's instructions does say to remove this, but I think it's easier to cut the tape right now, and then it'll probably be harder for you to tape it on when you go to install this. So you might want to remove this and then tape it, but anyways, it's not that big a deal. We could just do that later. Okay, now we want to start removing this upper console paneling, and it was already kind of up from trying to remove this piece of the center console. So all you have to do is just push up, pull up, and then it should start coming out. You do have some connectors back there. It might help if you shift back, but there's one right there, and there's all those right there. So just disconnect all those. These can only go in one way, so when you go to install it, you don't have to worry about messing it up. I believe every single one of these is a different connector. Set that off to the side. Okay, so that was a total of, I believe, 1, 2, let me see, yep. So that was a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 connections for the Type R. Okay, so to remove the cup holder, we're just gonna have to firmly pull up. A pry tool might help, but this thing is really stubborn, so it might take a little bit of force. And yeah, so you saw how much effort I had to do to remove that, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now that we have that removed, we pretty much have almost everything removed to where we can unbolt the center console and start working on the actual shifter assembly itself. Okay, so we have to remove this connector right here and this connector right here, this white one. Just press down and pull, there we go. And now we got this little white one right here, so just depress at the top and remove, and there's the harness. Okay, now that we have most of the wiring harness freed up, we can begin to remove the center console. Now, if you don't have a Civic Type R, or if you don't have a Civic Si, and the car that you have has accessories in the back, you will have to remove this back panel right here, so you can unplug those USB accessories, whatever they might be. I'm not too sure. I've never been in a Civic that had the USBs in the back. So with that being said, we can start to remove a total of 6 fasteners, and they're all 8mm. So grab your 8mm and let's start removing some bolts. Okay, so the bolts that are going to have to be removed are this one, and we move over to where the cup holders were, and there's that one right there and that one right there. Then you come into here and we have to remove this, and then if you didn't know, there's little Easter eggs underneath these, and like this one says the Civic history goes on, and it has an older Civic on there. Pretty cool. And then we look in here and there's those 2 bolts right there. It helps if you have something magnetic to grab the ones in the center. But now you can see that it's free and it can slide back. Now that the center console's out, the next step is going to be freeing up one of the cables. It's kind of in the way of the forward left bolt that we need to get to. So we're gonna have to remove that and yeah, kind of set it off to the side so we can get to the bolt that we need to get to. To begin with, we need to undo this little clip right here, and this little clip is kind of like looped over, so you have to take a pick tool and pull out like that and then take it out. It's kind of hard to get a good angle and do this at the same time, but you get the idea. Just pull out and then pull it out that way. And then once that's done, I'll show you how to remove the cable. I'm finding this to be easier with a L-shaped pick tool, so that way you can just hook it and then remove it. I wish I could show you guys, but this is very difficult. There we go. Oh, sorry. But you can see that I freed it. Now the cable has come loose. Be careful not to lose that. But Acuity does have a part number in their instructions in case you do lose it. Okay, next is going to be unclipping this white piece right here. And let's see if I can do it with a pick tool. There we go. And we have to twist this cable, or this section, and then take it out. So let's see how well that works out for us. There we go. Whew. That was a little hard, but just twist it. It releases tension in between what holds onto this right here. It helps if you push you create a little bit of pressure going towards you, and then when you're twisting it off, pull out at the same time. You want to make sure that you have a firm grip on both sides and pull straight out. Whew. Now the shifter assembly itself is free, so we can begin by removing the OEM bushings, and that's comprised of one metal part and one rubber part, and we're going to use a screwdriver to pry them out of their place. So just take your screwdriver and just pry it out. This is what the metal piece looks like. And now for the rubber piece, that just comes out from the bottom right there. And we do that for all four. Okay, now that that cable is loose, we can finally remove the 4 mounting bolts to the actual shifter itself. These 2 bolts right there, that bolt right, this bolt right there in the front that was underneath the cable, and that bolt right there. All you're gonna need for this is a 10mm, and we can start removing these bolts. Now the shifter assembly itself is free, so we can begin by removing the OEM bushings, and that's comprised of one metal part and one rubber part, and we're going to use a screwdriver to pry them out of their place. So just take your screwdriver and just pry it out. This is what the metal piece looks like. And now for the rubber piece, that just comes out from the bottom right there. And we do that for all 4. Just to give you a better view, we already took off the left side, and I'm just going to take off this side. It's pretty easy. Just like that. Set that off to the side, and then the little rubber bushing is right there. And then we have the front 2 still to do. Okay, now that those are out, we can begin installing our solid bushings. And So this row right here is going to go down at the bottom, and this top row is going to be on top, and we're going to use these screws to screw it down. So here goes the first one underneath. At the top, and then we take our screw and I'm just going to hand tighten it down for right now. That way I can still lift up and put the other ones in. Alright, so now we got every single one of them started. Again, you want to do one by one, put the lower bushing on, upper one, and then put the screw down. Don't put it all the way down. You still want to be able to manipulate it so you can do all of them. And then once you have all of them down, you can take a 4mm Allen wrench and tighten them all the way down. So before I do the little time lapse of me putting everything back together, I just wanted to show you what it all looks like installed. I like how the purple looks, and honestly, just by doing this, like, you can tell that it's that much stiffer. There is no play to this at all. Okay, so you're on my GoPro right now, so I apologize for the quality if it dropped down dramatically, but alright, I mean, it's installed. You can definitely feel how much more stiffer it is. There's not that spongy feeling anymore. It just stays in place. So I really enjoy it. All we have to do left is just go out for a drive and see how it feels when we're driving. It's nighttime, so it's probably gonna get really dark. And also, don't forget to plug your battery in. I'm not saying that I did that. I'm just telling you that if you forget. You are going to have every single light in the dash on, but I wouldn't freak out about that because you disconnected the battery. So you gotta let all the systems reinitialize, and it shouldn't take it very long. You could just drive around, turn it on, turn it back off, and then all the lights should clear. Your MPG is gonna reset. Pretty much everything is just going to be going through the motions while you go for the drive after disconnecting the battery. Again, sorry it's so dark. I apparently like to do all these things right before I have to go to bed. But so far, it's not so bad. Like, this is really good. I'm just kind of being belligerent with my shifts right now, but I mean, it's what you would expect, right? It's a solid bushing that we went to from the rubber with a metal insert. It's gonna feel a lot stiffer, and it's personally, I don't know why it doesn't come from the factory like this. I think it feels way better, but you know, we don't make the rules. We're just lucky enough that the aftermarket exists. So that's pretty much all I have, guys. I meing, it's pretty straightforward. The hardest part of the whole install is just me personally getting the cable out of the thing, the little place that it's held onto, but that's about it. Also, the little clip can be a little pain to get back on that holds the cable on, and that's really about it. Don't drop your camera on your nice aluminum center console for your Type R like I did and scuff it up. Really upset about it. So now I gotta go see if I can get a new one because it's gonna bother me. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Next clip will probably be me in my garage. Okay, so that pretty much sums up this video. There's nothing much to it, but to do it, the bushings are just that much stiffer than OEM. So the base bushings in combination with the shifter linkage bushings just made shifting a whole lot more engaging and a lot better of a feel personally. I like the stiffer feel to the shifter. I don't really like the squishy feel. I mean, to each their own, but if you want more engagement and a better feel for your shifter, consider getting the shifter base bushings and the linkage bushings. I think they're worth it. Everything that I use in the video is gonna be linked down in the description box below. They are affiliate links, so they do help out the channel. Unfortunately, I can't get you a discount on the Acuity stuff, but I would greatly appreciate it if you use my affiliate links. So with that being said, if you liked the video, be sure to smash that like button so you can help me out with the YouTube algorithm. If you have any questions, by all means, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer you, or somebody else will be happy to answer you. And subscribe so you don't miss another episode. So yeah, and if you want to see more content or you missed my previous video, be sure to click right here, and I'll catch you on the next one.